Hello everyone, in this video we will learn about seed. So in any angiosperms, the seed is the final product of sexual reproduction. That means whenever the sexual reproduction is completed, at that time the seed is produced. And it is often described as the fertilized ovule. That means whenever the ovule is fertilized, in that case it will produce, or in that case it will form. So seed are formed inside the fruit, and a seed is typically consist of a seed coat, cotyledon, and a embryonal axis. So whenever we are observing the structure of a seed, in that case we can see the seed is basically found only in the fruits, and it basically contains the seed coat, that is the outer covering, the cotyledon, and the embryonal axis. So these three things are found in a typical seed. The cotyledon of the embryo are simple structure, generally thick and shallow due to the storage of food reserve. That means most of the cotyledons that are found in any seed, it is quite common. It is simple in structure and it is shallow. It is thick and swollen due to the deposition of, or due to contains the lots of storage food material in them. Now, mature seeds may be non-albuminous or albuminous. That means if any seed that is not having any type of food reserve at the maturity, that means when seed is formed, at that time, if it do not contain any type of reserve food, in that case we can say it is a non-albuminous seed. But on the other hand, if any seed that is containing the food reserve or any reserve food in them till maturity, in that case we can say it is a albuminous seed. So non-albuminous seed do not contain any type of reserve food, and in albuminous seed they are having the reserve food material. For example, if we talk about the pea or groundnut, they are the non-albuminous, and if we talk about the wheat, maize, barley, castor, sunflower, so these are the albuminous seed that containing the food reserve. Now, occasionally in some seeds such as the black pepper and the beet, the nucellus are also persistent. That means in these type of plant or in this type of seed, what is happening, the nucellus is also available at the maturity, and this persistence residual of nucellus is known as the perisperm. That means if at the mature state on the seed, if nucellus portion is also present, then this nucellus portion after drying is called the perisperm. Now whenever the seed is developed, at that time the seed coat or the whatever the integuments are there, these integuments become harder and will convert it into the seed coat, and that provide the safety to the internal seed. And also the micropyle, it will remain there as the form of a small pore, and it is allowing the oxygen and water to get inside for the seed germination. That means whatever the integuments are there, they will convert into the seed coat, and the micropyle, it will remain there as a small pore which help the seed for the germination. And whenever the seed is getting the sufficient amount of oxygen and water, in that case it will start germinating. But at the maturity, whenever the seed is mature, at that time the seed will lose the water content, and it will relatively dry. At least 10 to 15% of moisture will be lost by the seed at the maturity. And also the metabolic activity is also reduced at that time. That means if any seed is mature, at that time the metabolic activity will reduce, and also the moisture content will also reduce. And some of the seed may be come or enter in the another state that we call the dormancy. In this dormancy, the seed is become inactive. It will not germinating, or it will not showing any type of metabolic activities. That means the metabolic activities are too much slow that we can say that the seed is almost sleeping. So that sleeping state is known as the dormancy. And whenever the favorable conditions are there, that means they will get the appropriate amount of moisture, oxygen, and suitable temperature. At that time it will start germinating. When the seed is converted into when the ovule is converted into seed, at the same time the ovary will develop into the fruit. That means whenever the ovule will transformed into the seed, at that time the ovary, it will also converted into the fruit. So the development of seed and the fruit is always occur simultaneously. At the same time, both are occur. Now the wall of the ovary that is developed, it will converted into the pericarp. That means the fruit wall. Whatever the wall is present on the fruit, it is the ovaries wall, and this ovaries wall will convert into the fruit wall, and that fruit wall is known as the pericarp. So first of all, the seed will convert, ovule will convert into the seed, then the ovary will convert into the fruit. So whatever the wall of the ovary is there, it will convert into the fruit wall, and this fruit wall is known as the pericarp. And some of the fruits may be fleshy. For example, if we talk about the oranges, mango, etc. So these type of fruits are fleshy. That means they are quite hydrated. That means they contain lots of water content. But some of the seed may be dry. For example, groundnut and mustard. These seeds do not have so much amount of water content. That is why they are quite dry. Now in most of the plants, what is happening at the time of fruit development, all the other accessory parts will degenerate. Whatever the floral accessory parts are there, they will degenerate. But in some of the species, just like apple, strawberry, cashew, etc., in these type of plants, what is happening? The thalamus, it is start developing and forming the fruit. That means this thalamus will be converted into the fruit, and the fruit that is not developed from the ovary, that type of fruit is known as the false fruit. So in apple, you can easily see the thalamus, it is covering the complete pistil. In that case, it will convert into the fruit. And this type of fruit which is not formed from the ovary, we called it false fruit. But in most of the flower or in most of the plant, what is happening? The ovary, after fertilization, it will produce the fruit. And this type of fruit that is produced from the ovary, we call them true fruits. In almost all the species, what is happening? The fruits are generally result of fertilization. That means after fertilization only the fruit is developed. But in some few species, what is happening? The fruit is developed without fertilization. That means most of the cases, what is happening? Whenever the fertilization occur, at that time the ovary will convert it into the fruits. But in some species, what is happening? Without fertilization, they are converting into the fruits. And the fruits that are developed from without fertilization. So if any fruit is developing without fertilization, that type of fruits are known as the parthenocarpic fruits. So if any fruit that is normally happening in other plants, what is happening? After fertilization, they will produce the fruits. But in some species, what is happening? Without fertilization, they are producing the fruit. And that type of fruit that is produced by without fertilization, we call them parthenocarpic fruits. So some examples are banana. So this type of parthenocarpy can be induced in the plant by applying of some growth hormones. And these type of fruits that is developed from parthenocarpy, this type of fruits are generally not bearing any type of seed, and that is why they are seedless fruit. So if any fruit that is developed from without fertilization, then we called it parthenocarpic fruit. This process is known as the parthenocarpy, and this parthenocarpy can be induced in the plant by using some growth hormones. And the fruit which is developed from parthenocarpy, they are totally seedless. So they do not contain any type of seed. Formation of seed in angiosperm is providing the great advantage in them. How? First of all, just because the reproductive processes such as the pollination and fertilization, they are not depending on water. In that case, the production of seed is more depending on them. Reason how it is? If any seed is dispersing or it is having a better adaptive strategies for the dispersal, in that case what will happening? These seed will transfer to the new habitat. In that case, the plant will get a new environment, and the population of that species will be increased. So if any seed is dispersed or it is having a better dispersal adaptability, in that case it will disperse or it will increase the area of the plant species. Now, just because most of the seeds are having the sufficient amount of food reserve, in that case, the young seedling is not having any type of problem to get the nutrition till they are not able to do the photosynthesis. So, in that case, whatever the seed coat is there, it will protect the embryo in the extreme condition. And also, just because the seed is a product of a sexual reproduction, they are also create a new genetic combination, and that are also leading to the variation. That means just because the seed is developed after sexual reproduction, so two gametes are combined, so whatever the gametes or whatever the characters are present in two gametes, they will combine and a new type of character will be developed in a seed. So that is why it will also provide a new genetic combination, and that leading to the variation. Now seeds are the basis of our agriculture. That means without seed we are not able to do the agriculture. In that case, whatever the dehydration and dormancy of a mature seed are crucial for the storage of the seed, which can be used as the food throughout the year and also to raise crop in the next season. That means whenever the seed is formed, in that case, first of all it will dehydrate and it will start getting the dormancy. So these two features of dehydration and dormancy help us for the agriculture and also to reserve this for the complete year. So we can store the food by only these seed, just because they are dehydrating and also they are having the dormancy. And if these type of seed are not having these type of feature or dormancy, then we are not able to store them for the next year and we can't cultivate them. And that is why these two features are very important for us. Now, how long do the seed remain alive after they are dispersed? That means whenever the seed is produced and after their dispersal, how long they can survive or they can alive. So this period is also vary greatly. So how? So in few species, the seed may be lose their viability within few months, but in some seeds they can live for several years. That means if any seed is there, so most of the plants, whatever the seed has produced, they can viable for so many of years, but in few plants it may be alive only for the few months. Now we have lots of records about the old viable seeds. For example, first is the oldest seed, that is of the lupine, that is Lupinus arcticus, excavate from Arctic tundra. So there we excavate it, and after that this seed germinate and flowered after an estimation of record of 10,000 years of dormancy. That means after 10,000 years of dormancy, this seed is able to grow and flower. So this is a very long period, and recent record of 2000-year-old viable seed of a dead palm, Phoenix dactylifera, so discovered during the archaeological excavation of King Herod Palace near the Dead Sea. So we can easily see that the viability of these seed is very greatly. That means they can live for few months also, or they can live for thousands of years also. Now apomixis and polyamory. So just because we know that the seed are generally produced by the sexual reproduction and after fertilization they will produce, but in few flowering plants such as the Asteraceae and grasses, so in these type of species what is happening, they have a special mechanism to produce the seed without the fertilization. That means in most of the species what is happening, after fertilization they will produce the seed, but in Asteraceae and grasses, these are few species in which they are producing the seed without fertilization, and this is called the apomixis. And just because this is a asexual mode of reproduction, and that is mimic the sexual reproduction, so it is a asexual form of reproduction, but it is mimic like that it is a sexual reproduction, because in sexual reproduction the seed is formed, but in this, without sexual reproduction, they are producing the seed. There are several ways of development of apoptotic seed. We will discuss few of them. So in some species, what is happening? The diploid egg cell, that means the diploid egg cell which is formed without reduction division, that means without meiosis, the egg cell is formed, that is diploid, and this diploid egg cell will develop into the embryo without fertilization. So just because it is already diploid, so there is no need for the fertilization. So without fertilization, it will convert into the embryo. So this is the first method. And more often, as in many citrus and mango species, what is happening? The nuclear cell that is surrounding the embryo sac, it will start dividing and it will completely come out from the embryo sac and develop into the embryos. So in these type of species, what is happening? We can see lots of embryos in a single seed, and the occurrence of more than one embryo in a seed is referred as the polyembryo. So in citrus and mango, what is happening? The nuclear cell, it will start dividing and it will form a group, and each group will form the embryo. So in these type of seed, we will get lots of embryo in one seed. So this type of condition in which the occurrence of more than one embryo is in the seed is there, then we refer as polyembry. Nowadays, whatever we are eating, they are basically produced from the hybrid varieties. The reason behind that, these varieties are able to produce tremendous amount of production as compared to the wild species, and that is why nowadays we are excessively used in our agriculture process. Now, one of the major problem of the hybrid seed is that the hybrid seed have to be produced every year. That means we can't use the previous year's seeds. So whatever the seed we are sown, and if we are getting the new seed, so that new seed are not able to grow, or that are not able to use for the next year for the good production. So the reason behind that, if the seed collected from the hybrids are sown, the plant in the progeny will segregate and do not maintain the hybrid characters. So if we are sown that seed that we are getting from the hybrid variety, they will segregate their characters and they will not able to produce the good variety or good production, and that is why we are not able to use it. So if these hybrid seed are made into apoptotic, there are no segregation of characters in the hybrid progeny. That means whatever we are getting the progeny, if these type of progeny are having the character of apoptotic, then in that case there will be no segregation of the characters, and we are able to use the new progeny for the next season. And just because these type of hybrid seeds are very costly, so normal farmers are not able to use them. So it is very costly process, and that is why we have to produce the new seed every time, and it is also a very big problem. So that is why it is quite difficult. So if we are using the apoptotic characters in the hybrid seed, in that case we are able to produce that type of seed that can be sown again and again. So different type of seed industries are researching on this, that whatever the apoptotic gene is there, it should be transferred in the hybrid variety so that we can use them again and again. So that's all for today. Thank you very much.